Alright, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Now, first off, I want to thank everybody who has reached out the past couple of days on Instagram, on Facebook, showing love and support. I did not expect that at all. A lot of people reached out. People that I didn't even expect to reached out. And you guys were really going ahead and showing love to me, as well as the 2-valve build. Now, you guys can see I'm sitting in the 2-valve. The 2-valve's not for sale. I'm not going to sell the 2-valve, even though if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, which I recommend you guys do, here's POV, link in the top of the description. I did go ahead and kind of toss the idea of selling this car, and I actually listed it for sale on the Facebook pages, which I've actually taken down all those listings. Now, I'm going to go ahead and explain in this video the best of my ability. I will be able to make another video at a later date, which is probably going to be the next couple of days, explaining, number one, what happened to prompt me to consider selling this 2-valve, why I went ahead and actually listed the 2-valve, why I took the posting down, and what's going to have to happen going forward. Alright, so I actually have to come back into my place. It's getting pretty toasty outside. I was sweating up a storm, but I'm going to get this out there right now. I am not selling the 2-valve. I'm going to be holding on to it. We're going to be continuing this build. I'm going to be continuing making content on the 2-valve as well as my FRS when that does get here in Texas. But I am going to have to go ahead and make changes to this build, and I want to explain why I actually had to go ahead and make these changes and kind of what prompted me to first list the 2-valve for sale and then ultimately go ahead and take it down and kind of look at my options. Now, if you guys are unaware, I am pretty much taking on a pretty substantial build. I am in the process of building a 1,000 plus wheel horsepower capable 4.6 liter 2-valve. Now, my first car that I've ever owned was a 2000 V6 convertible Mustang. So I felt it'd be kind of cool to go ahead and get a GT model car. I got it way before the prices got jacked up, so I got an incredible good deal on it, and go ahead and take it to the next level. And I wanted to go ahead and build this car in phases. That's very important here. I wanted to build this car in phases, taking, the car from what it is right now, at least at minimum 450 wheel horsepower, probably makes a little bit more now, and then take it to about 6, 7, and then go ahead and build it up and work from there, just so I can go ahead and document everything, share my experiences with you guys so you guys understand and can be prepared if you wanted to either duplicate the build or at least go ahead and build your stock bottom end 2-valve, or potentially go ahead and build a motor on the side like how I did. Now, speaking of a motor, in January of this year, I actually went ahead and placed an order for a built aluminum 4.6 liter short block. Now, in January, the specs of this short block were to consist of manley rods, pistons, a Cobra crank, ARP side bolts, and whatnot. Pretty much everything you need to go ahead and build a high horsepower 4.6 liter 2-valve. This was supposed to be a 9.5-to-1 compression engine. Now, a couple weeks later, the shop that I went to go ahead and get all these parts, bought and then assembled by the machine shop, because there really aren't that many companies that are making, ready to drop in solution short blocks for older cars like, 99 to 04 Mustangs. It's not like, you go to LME or IAG Performance if you're trying to build a Subaru or a Corvette or LS platform car. You have to go ahead and have everything pretty much put together from the ground up with these cars. The shop that I go to recommended that I actually upgrade the rod to get a different manley rod for this car, or what I believe is a manley rod. This is very important when I'm saying what I believe is a manley rod. This upgrade was for $200. I was like, okay, that's perfectly fine. In order to hold more horsepower, $200, that's not a big deal. I'd rather be safe than sorry. Now, fast forward another month, the shop actually went ahead and recommended that I sleeve the block. So it is stronger and can support more horsepower as well. So there is no situation down the line, and if I want to go ahead and turn this car up even more, I'd be okay. You know, it's always good to have, you know, some headroom and to overbuild your motor just in case your plans change and you want to push crazy horsepower. And I got the quote for that. It was an additional $2,000 to sleeve the block. I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and sleeve it. This is something that, you know, I wanted to go ahead and have foolproof, and I did not want to have any surprises, ironically, when, you know, I was ready to go ahead and push more horsepower. Now, I'm going to take blame on this part because this is something that I should have been more adamant on. This is something that I should have been overlooking like a hawk, and I should have been asking a lot more questions. But at the same time, I feel that I was kind of taken advantage of here because of the sleeves and the rod. The pistons that were what I thought were still going to be manly pistons, that had to be changed. The wrist pins, those had to be changed as well. And I was not notified of that. I did not know that none of these changes were made. This is something that was just done after I went ahead and, from my understanding, upgraded the rods, and especially after I sleeved the block. I've never built a 4.6 car before. I made that known when I went to the shop because I wanted something that was going to be strong enough for my needs. Now, because of that, I guess there was maybe some type of miscommunication where it was okay to start upgrading parts that, you know, I didn't really authorize and I had no idea on. Now, this is very important for the time frame for all of this going down, because in my personal opinion, and I think I speak for everybody has like that spending limit and that time frame that they want builds to be done. That's just how I operate. Being a YouTuber, because I have multiple YouTube channels, I have multiple businesses, I like to have things done in a specific fashion and a specific time frame for it to actually be worth it to me. Now, because of these upgrades and these custom parts that had to be purchased, rods, which I was okay with, as well as the pistons, which I was not aware of, it significantly, and I mean significantly, went ahead and backed up the build. Now, obviously, custom parts are going to take longer, but I was unaware on a lot of these custom parts that were done, and that is why this build took 10 months, literally, to get the short block pretty much ready to go and to be assembled. Now, because of all this and what happened with the custom parts, a lot of the parts that I have for the car right now that I've been stockpiling are actually not usable. Because this build took a lot longer than I anticipated, I actually put on hold ordering some parts, which were the heads. Now, after about 6 months, about June, I was going to make the decision to go ahead and put in the short block and use the PI heads that I have on the car, because I know you can make power with the PI heads. I was going to be able to hit that first stepping stone of like 600 wheel, 700 wheel with the PI heads. Now, from my understanding is what the shop told me, the block that I had built, or what I thought had built, can no longer use the PI heads because the pistons were cut differently, different wrist pins. None of that is being used. Now, I need you guys to go ahead and fact check that down in the comment section. If you guys have built a 4.6, please go ahead and reach out to me either on Instagram or the comment section. Is that true? Now, I actually don't even have the itemized bill yet, unfortunately. Like, this is what I'm talking about. A lot of things just got out of hand. I am taking blame for part of it because I was not overseeing everything like a hawk. But again, a lot of things were done without me being notified and without my understanding. So once I get that itemized bill, I'm gonna make another video pretty much explaining everything that's in this block, because honestly at this point I don't know everything that's in that block. I know it sounds so stupid and foolish, but sometimes things happen. Sometimes, you know, in my personal opinion, I feel like I got my time, money, and my patience taken advantage of. I need to go ahead and figure out what's going on with this block so I can make the proper steps to go in the right direction now. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably going to be assuming this is a money issue that is delaying this build. The money is not the issue. The issue is two things. Number one, when you actually sit down and look at the cost of how much this short block now has costed to get built versus the other options that I had placed in front of me at the beginning of the year before I went ahead and set the green light to get this build, things now don't make any sense. And also, most importantly, time. Time is far more valuable to me than money. You know, as somebody who is a business owner, somebody who is business minded, somebody who likes to have everything happen in a period of time, somebody who, you know, likes to have everything set on a schedule. I know a lot of you guys can understand what I'm saying. Now, the money that's into this short block, just this short block itself, because of all of the upgrades that I did not authorize and that I was not aware of, now costs as much as a Gen 3 long block or a running 0304 Cobra engine, which is what I also had the options of going ahead and putting into my car. That is where things are kind of getting out of hand, or I should say where things got out of hand, and kind of what prompted me to consider and what ultimately led me to list a 2-valve for sale, just to go ahead and kind of start fresh and move on with either a Cobra or a C606. That's literally the two cars that I was considering going ahead and picking up after everything was kind of brought to my attention, you know, surprisingly last minute. Now, again, all of this could have been avoided with a simple phone call. It could have been avoided with a simple text message. I could have made the decision or not to go ahead and proceed with a lot of these upgrades that ultimately went ahead and delayed this build by months. I am almost positive that if I received a text message or a phone call saying, hey, because you went ahead and upgraded, you know, the rod, because you went ahead and got the motor sleeved, we have to go ahead and get custom pistons. These are backed up. It's going to take, you know, X amount of time. Are you okay with that? I was not given that opportunity. So that's something that should have happened that did not happen. And that is what ended up delaying this build. What now is going to be, I'd say, at least 5 to 6 months, because I'm positive if everything stayed on track, which is what I ultimately would have kept everything staying on track, we'd have the, at least at the very minimum, the short block in the car right now with the stock heads, or at this point would have been the trick flow heads ready to go, and we would have been making at least 700 horsepower. Now, because of all these delays, this is another reason why I went ahead and actually considered selling the car and actually listed it. Now it's obviously down. From what I've been told, now I'm going to actually go ahead and get a second opinion when I do get the itemized bill. From what I've been told, what I have on the car right now is not going to be compatible. I'm going to have to go ahead and upgrade to trick flow heads, which right now, if you guys have checked the prices on them, they're taxed. They're not worth what they're asking for right now, and they're on at least a 6-month backup. So 3 to 6 month backup, but you know when they say 3 to 6 months, they really mean 6 months. So that's what's irritating. Waited 10 months already. Now, from what I've been told, I have to wait an additional 6 months. That's if I buy them right now, which I'm obviously not going to do right now. That is where I got irritated. That is where I feel that I got my time, money, and patience taken advantage of. I do feel that it is partially my fault because I should have been overlooking this build a lot more adamantly. I should have been, you know, requesting daily, or not really daily, monthly price updates on what's going on with the short block, because like I said previously, I'm not 100% sure on exactly what's in this motor as of right now and how everything was cut. So once I do get that information, I'll be able to make an update video on that. But that's why I considered going ahead and just cutting the losses, going ahead and selling the car, and essentially just starting fresh with a Cobra or a C606, because the money that needs to be spent into the car now, because I actually had stopped buying parts for the car, some of the things that I need because of the delays that now I understand why everything was delayed. I originally could have been, you know, at this point into a Cobra by now or a Corvette. So that's what's going on with the build. I know some of you guys are probably going to be like, you know, just suck it up. You know, it is what it is. Things happen. But I know some people who now understand the story, the time waited, the money kind of lost on this, and the situation I'm in right now. I know for a fact when you sit everything down, I mean, this car, the time that, you know, we had, you know, waiting, there's a lot of assembled 4.62 valve engines that I could have bought for what's less than the short block. There were a lot of 0304 Cobra pull-out motors that I could have bought that were less than this short block. And I could have essentially, you know, got a Gen 3 Coyote motor for the car for the same price of what this short block now costs, which is over $10,000, which is insane when you think about that. Just a short block itself being $10,000. So I want to go ahead and make this video, let you guys know. I'm just being open, being honest. If you guys want to reach out to me and kind of, you know, give some advice on what I should do, I'm going to go ahead and continue building the 2 valve. What we're going to end up doing now is with the parts that I have for the car right now, around the 2K time, we're going to be putting on the fuel system. We're going to be going ahead and putting on the Edelbrock intake, and we're going to turn the car up on E85 and go hurt some feelings with the stock bottom end 2 valve, because that's what we're going to do on the channel, man. We've been, you know, the underdog, fighting with the stock bottom end, and we're going to keep going ahead and doing so. And then when the time is right, we're going to go ahead and get that short block dropped in. Obviously, it'll be a lot faster if I do get some information on whether or not I can use the heads on the car right now, because I am not going to spend any more money on, you know, parts when I don't fully understand what's going on with the car right now. So yeah, hope you guys did enjoy. I know it's kind of a crazy video, but that's just what happens when you guys build cars and you're kind of, you know, taken through the ringer without you really knowing. So use this as a learning experience. Catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.